Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn webinar, Understanding Packing Rules when Using Lanham E-Ship or EDI Advanced Shipping Notices, brought to you by Archer Point. If you're using or considering using Lanham E-Ship and EDI ASN integrated with Dynamics NAV, today's webinar is for you. It's imperative to understand how your packing rules have been set up and how you can change them when needed. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the setup options for packing rules, covering all options to ensure your process is defined and trading partners and customer requirements are met consistently. Our presenter today is Colette Taylor. Colette is currently engaged at Archer Point as a client service representative. Colette started working with Dynamics NAV in 1999 as an accounting business analyst at a manufacturing company. She eventually transitioned into the position of system administrator and division subject matter expert. Colette has more than 15 years of experience in consulting, support, and project management. This includes evaluation of information systems, business process design, systems analysis, software installation and customization, training and post-production technical support. She holds many certifications, including ones for Lanham EDI and Lanham E-Ship. In today's webinar, Colette will review all options for your packing rule setup for Lanham E-Ship and EDI ASN. She'll also show you how to override standard rules by customer. Without further delay, Colette, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Suzanne. Good afternoon, everyone. With this webinar, we're looking to do is to give you an overview of setting up your packing rules. The packing rule is normally considered an enigma. What I have found is that the packing rule is oftentimes set up by your partner at the beginning of your implementation. During that time, after you bring on new trading partners and or customers, most of the time you just copy your packing rule. But what I hope to accomplish today is that we'll go through the packing rules. You'll have a better understanding of what you're actually setting up, and if you ever come across a customer that you have to set up a completely brand new packing rule, you'll have an understanding of what you're setting up, what some of these fields are, and the why. So without further ado, we'll begin. To access the packing rule, you're going to go to Application Setup. You'll go to E-Ship, Administration. I'm sorry. Off to a bad start. We're going to go here. We're going to go to E-Ship. And we're going to go here to Packing Rules. For those who are on RTC versions of Navision, you can just type in Packing Rules as well. So normally when you create a new packing rule, you would go to Navigate and then you'd copy to a new packing rule. Today what we're going to do is we're going to create a packing rule from scratch. So here you would click New. And what we'll do is we will put in a code. This will be our packing rule name. And here you can put in a description. And what that description will do is it's going to say whatever you want to call your packing rule. You can call it by your customer name, generic packing rule, whatever you want to identify this as. This particular FAST tab is called the General FAST tab. The General FAST tab identifies the basic processing rules for the package. Reports can be set up by you that will override the shipping setup print reports. So if you are saying that for one particular customer, you want to use a different type of closed package report, then you would select your report here. We can use a different closed sales report ID. Here you may normally have it set up to close, when you close your packages, your invoice will print. Perhaps you have a customer that requires a different invoice. This is where you can identify that. This would also be if we want to do purchase reports, transfer report name. Here is the item label code. If you'd like to have an item label code print out, if you have a label set up for it, you would then select it here. If you have a resource label code, this would be for some reason if you have a resource and you've identified a label for that resource, Here's where you would put it as well. Here you can default, if you're doing fast pack, you would default your fast pack to a standard unit of measure. Here is where we would click if we want sales order pack detail, sales invoice pack detail. Some of these options are on your packing station setup, but anytime that if you have identified it or flagged it here in the packing rule, if this customer has this packing rule, then it will override those particular settings in your shipping setup and or packing station. We can do a purchase credit memo pack detail, purchase return order pack detail, transfer order pack detail. Here we can say mixed packages are not allowed, package dimension required, and do not print the ship agent label. Our next tab is the UCC tab. The UCC Fast tab controls the creation and number of UCC 128 labels that will be required with the packing rule assigned. So here we would select our UCC type. You can do UCC 128. This would be the barcode that prints out on the bottom of your label. Or you can say item UPC EAN, so then it would print the item UPC EAN in a barcode format, or if you have a standard pack UPC or EAN label. Here is where you would select your labels that you'd want to print for this particular customer. Here it would be dependent upon who your customer is or what labels that you have selected. We could say if we're doing a UCC 128, this would be just considered a VIX 128 standard label. And if you wanted it for item only, you would click here, and then if you wanted, this would be for each item that you pack, and then we could do it by package as well. Here is your manufacturer ID. This is where you would need to put this in. This particular one is going to be standard 90% of the time or 99% of the time for all of your packing rules, unless you are a company that you have several divisions and each division has its own manufacturer ID number. So this is usually 6 digits. Here, the UCC 128 masks, these are all defaults, so these you do not have to change. And when you create a new packing rule, these will be already filled in, so this you don't have to worry about. UCC 128 sequence numbers, this is used if you are not going to be using the standard Lanham calculation that's done for the sequence numbers of your UCC 128 after your manufacturer ID. You can put in different things, but normally this usually stays blank and you'll just use the default that is with standard Lanham. Here, that would be the last UCC 128 sequence number would be dependent upon if you've selected a different UCC 128 number. Next one is allow UCC label. You'll check this if you want to make sure that you're allowing your UCC 128 labels. If you don't have this checked, then it's not going to print. Here, you're going to say that when you want to print your UCC, if you want to print your UCC closing package, you can, and if you want to assign a UCC closing package. Your default package type is 1. If you want to update your package type on close, you would check this, as well as package type item only and package type packages. These fields are generally specialized. I have not found that they are used often, but at any point if you find that these are fields that you need to use, or if your customer is requiring you to use these fields based on the label type or information, always feel free to contact support@archerpoint.com, and we can work with you on this and go through a deeper dive to set this up for you and assist you. The next tab we have is the Bill of Lading tab. This tab controls the creation and use of the bill of lading with a particular shipment. So here we're going to say that if you want to have a bill of lading created for your order, based off this packing rule, you can. So you have 3 release bill of lading actions. It will, if you release, it's going to ask you, do you want to create a new bill of lading? for your shipment or your order. Here it's going to create a new bill of lading, or it's going to remove the document from the bill of lading, so depending on which one of these you select. Most times you can just do remove document from bill of lading or create new bill of lading, and that will set up how you're handling your bill of ladings. Sometimes if you do ask, it's going to give you a pop-up to ask you how you want to handle that bill of lading. If you have a system in place where most of this is automated, I really don't suggest that you do the ask because that will cause a problem. You have options that you can either just create a new bill of lading or you're going to remove your document from the bill of lading. Usually if you do create new bill of lading, what that does is you have a customer and they have 3 orders that are open. If you do create new bill of lading, each one will get its own individual bill of lading. Here we have auto bill when shipped. So what this does is that if you have this box checked, when your order is posted to a shipment status, it's going to create it's automatically going to create a bill of lading. So we would have this, or we do remove document, and then we do auto bill of lading. Auto bill of lading by package, similar to ship, but every time you create a new package, it's going to create a bill of lading for that individual package. Auto release summary. What this will do is it will automatically release the summary, the ASN summary. And then you can also do auto post the when you send auto post when ASN is sent. So what this does is that when you generate your ASN, it will automatically post the bill of lading. I suggest that sometimes because if you have one department who is sending your ASNs, and then of course you have your shipping department that will be actually shipping the product, if you have this posted, if you have this field checked, what will happen is your ASN, when your ASN is sent, then it will automatically post the bill of lading and you won't have a bunch of open bill of ladings. The good and bad to that is, what you'll find is it removes a certain check and balance. So if for some reason it doesn't get picked up from the carrier, then the ASN has been sent. It's really not going to be a huge issue. Or if for some reason you have a problem in your warehouse, that's the only time that I ever find that, but I find that 9 times out of 10, if you have the auto post ASN to send, check that's sent, then that will keep your bill of lading from not being open. And I'm sorry, Suzanne, can we pause for one moment? It appears that my mouse is stuck and I need to see what's going on with that.
Okay.
My apologies. Just give me one moment.
Sure. While you're doing that, I did have a question come in. Maybe you can answer while trying to work with your mouse. When you were on the UCC FAST tab, Vicki was asking, should the default package type always be set at 1?
Yes, it should.
Okay.
For the most part you would. Anytime that if you needed something different, I would definitely say that that's a different requirement.
Okay.
But for the most part, I would always default to 1. So we were in the bill of lading tab, and this is what we're using to control the creation and use of the bill of lading. So as I said, we could set here, we could actually set it to auto bill of lading when shipping. I tend to, like I said, for things like auto bill of lading by package, that is, I'm not going to say that it won't happen. I found that to be very rare because that would be where you're actually sending each package. Why you would create a bill of lading for each package, the only time that I would ever see that is if for some reason you are creating packages, but they want package 1 to go to New York and they want package 2 to go to California. Can it happen? Yes. Normally, though, I tend to find that that's rare, but it can happen. So if you have a customer that would have a requirement such as this, they're sending one PO to multiple ship to locations is where maybe you would find this. We're auto-release summary, that will auto-release the ASN summary, the bill of lading summary, and then this would auto-post when you send your ASN. Shipment invoicing required. This particular field is for when you need to add shipping information onto your invoice, to your 810. So that would be, you have a customer, they want tracking information. So usually I tend to find that that's when it's a CAD, or if you have a customer who is really doing an 857, they're calling it an 856, or they do want an 857, but they want invoicing information as far as pricing or different things like that. This is when I would find that you use this, because then this is more, that's the most when I see this, is that when they want to have their pricing, the CTP or different things like that on an 856. And then you'd have to use a different routine for posting your invoices when shipping invoicing is required as checked. Here, bill of lading number mandatory. This is if you have a specialized bill of lading number, or you have to have the bill of lading number, and it's mandatory, and it has to be in the ASN. Here you would check if you want to add the open bill of lading. This is if you have a customer, they have multiple orders open, and you still have a bill of lading open. So then instead of having one bill of lading per order, you're going to have one bill of lading with multiple shipments underneath it. This would be if you're doing a consolidated bill of lading. That's times when you can use it, or if you are consolidating your shipments. You have some customers, they are, to save on shipping costs, they don't want you to ship them individually. They want everything. They're going to have a truck come in and pick up everything. You can put everything underneath one bill of lading. Here you would do blank bill of lading when you post your shipment. This one I really don't see used a lot. You can do it, and what that'll do is it blanks out your bill of lading number when you're posting your shipment. You can use the ship to address from the document. So what that is that no matter where you're actually shipping that from, it's always going to use the ship to address from the sales order. Here, if you want to have a label for your bill of lading, you could then create a label, and then you would assign that to this particular field. Here, this is where you can allow the bill of lading to post before the ASN is sent. Again, when I find that this would be used is that your shipping department is posting bill of lading, and the bill of lading, it would allow them to post it before the ASN is sent. I personally don't kind of recommend that because it just kind of bypasses the rules. If they can post this before it's sent, if for some reason your ASN is not sent and the bill of lading is posted, you would have to really put in some processes and procedures to make sure for auditing purposes that you know which ASNs are open for which bill of ladings. I just tend to find the bill of lading isn't posted and you try to post it before the ASN is sent, it's going to give you an error message. It's going to say that the ASN hasn't been sent, and that will trigger someone.
We did have a question come in on this section, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Bill wants to know if you can explain what the different options in the release bill of lading options are. Yeah.
Okay, so the release bill of lading, on the release of the bill of lading, it's going to pop up and it will ask you, so if it's going to ask, do you want to release the bill of lading? I'm trying to think of some of the other questions that it's going to ask you. It may ask, do you want to, if you have other orders open for that customer, it's going to ask you, do you want to add them to the bill of lading? Create new bill of lading. What this is going to do is that it's going to create a new bill of lading for the customer every time, and then remove document from bill of lading. What this does is, if you ever notice, if you have bill of lading set up, it's going to, if you ever had, like if you create your bill of lading on the order, then if you ever looked at an open bill of lading before it's shipped, you'll see the bill of lading, and in the bill of lading lines, you'll see that it's referencing the sales order. When you post your bill of lading to a shipment status, if you looked, and if you didn't have removed the document from bill of lading, you're going to see both lines. You're going to see an order, and you're going to see a shipment. So what this does is that when you're releasing your bill of lading, it's going to release the open sales order from that bill of lading. So that it's just going to, so instead of you having to manually go in and remove the sales order, it's going to automatically remove it.
So does that help, Bill? He says, okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, next we have the ASN tab. And what this tab controls the creation of the data for an ASN required for EDI. So here, this is probably, I think barring the UCC where you're attaching any labels that you want to print, this is probably one of the most important parts of your packing rule. Now, if you are a customer who is using Lanham E-Ship, but you're not using Lanham for your EDI, if you're using Beck EDI, or if you're using Redtail or a different add-on, this will not apply to you. But if you are using Lanham EDI, this is going to be a real, like the really big meat and potatoes part of it for you. Here you're going to select your ASN summary type. Most customers, most trading partners, usually do shipment order package item. And a lot of times when there's a problem, or when things are a little difficult, is when you find out that maybe this particular customer wants something different. They want shipment order tier package item. Tier is normally just like they want to know the pallet information, or so you have your shipment, which is saying this is giving your header information. This is the bill of lading number, PO number, bill of lading number, sales shipment number, date that it was shipped, that type of thing. Next we have order, and in the order information, that's the order information. This is the PO number, PO date, some information that they may want in there. Package is going to be the actual package, what's in that, like, okay, fine, this is the carton and this is the UCC 128, or whatever you've defined to identify that particular package. Then the next level would be item, and item is the actual item in the package. We shipped 5 of this particular item, and it's in eaches. If you have tier is normally just kind of a pallet information. You do have some people who want to know that, so, or if it's on a pallet or in a container, so it's just another level. So it's like, okay, we have our shipment information, this is our bill of lading number, this is sales shipment number, this was the weight, and we're shipping it on a pallet or in a container. Then they want to know the pallet information or the container information, then package, then item. Yeah, some customers, they want to see your shipment, your order, your item information, then your package information. Or they want to know the shipment, the package, the order, or the item. We have where you can do prioritize, and that's kind of where you can customize it a little bit. You can go over here, so if you select prioritize, then you can then define your levels here. That's a rare one. Custom 1, 2, and 3 is somewhat similar, and that's here. And I'll show you like where we define custom values. And again, the only time I'm even thinking that you would use something like this is if the customer wants to see they're calling shipment something else. So instead of an S, we're putting in a P. But 90% of the time it's going to be shipment, order, package, item. But this is where really understanding the packing rules helps for when you don't have what is considered kind of that standard ASN layout. Here you can do ASN summary from the pack summary. Basically the ASN summary is generated normally from the bill of lading. This is if you're saying that you want to do it from the package. That's a rare one. I'm going to be honest, probably in all my years I really have not used this one. Here ASN requires UCC number. That's where you want to make sure if this is checked, you want to make sure that's checked because you want it to send that UCC 128 that was generated on the label, because that's what your trading partners are using to tie that package to this ASN. And you want to make sure that ASN PO per document, that is if you are doing an ASN, that would be if you're doing multiple shipments on a bill of lading. So you want to make sure that you're always sending an ASN for each PO. Here, create VIX bill of lading number on close. You may have a trading partner, you'll see that they say that they want the VIX bill of lading number. So the VIX bill of lading number differs from just the bill of lading number that we've defined in a number series in the vision. The VIX bill of lading number, that's that standardized, I believe it's 17 characters bill of lading number that's defined through UCC. And here, this would be your VIX BOL manufacturer ID. It would be the same thing, it's your manufacturer ID, so then you would just fill that in. Here, if you're using VIX bill of lading number, you define in NAV, and it comes with standard Lanham, you'd get your number series for your BOL, for your VIX. And again, it's similar to the UCC 128 setup, so here you don't have to fill this in. It's always going to be this format, and whenever you create a new packing rule. Your package summary type, you do your, normally I would do, you can do items at all levels, items all levels summarize, items all levels summarize group by box size, only items. These are things that, and again, it's customization, but normally you'll select item at all levels. Again, if you ever find that you need something different or you have more questions, please feel free to contact us at ArcherPoint and we can actually do a deep dive with you in your system. Here you have like lines from pack summary lines, and again, this is usually not used, but that's if you need to get the lines from your package summary lines, and that's instead of getting the information from the bill of lading. And then this would be if you want to override the default using the BOL summary line, and you want your BOL summary to get it from your pack summary. Here, if you want to do increment level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are all pretty advanced. Again, not really used. This would be a really specialized ASN, and that would be something that we would deep dive because it would take a lot of testing, and then we'd have to look at the specs for which your customer is requiring, and that's really more so here. And we're doing things like where we're saying that we want to change the actual ASN structure. We discussed prioritized levels. And here, this is saying that you want to use the order unit of measure and quantity when you're doing the in the prioritization, if you're having a priority or prioritized ASN. Your ship notice type is going to be ASN. This one would be, if you're doing a BSN, that would be the 857. So it's just setting up what are you sending? Are you sending an 856? Or are you sending an 857? Here, if you're checking off ASN requires non-shipped lines, non-shipped items, this would be if for some reason you have a customer who you're doing a partial shipment and they want to see the items that you didn't ship. And then here you're saying that if you want to do your line data and you don't want to summarize, it's not summarized. And that's where you would check this box. Okay, next we have the RFID tab. If you are not doing RFID computerized labels, then you really wouldn't have to worry about this. This is just setting up, it's similar to when you're setting up UCC labels, but this is if you're doing RFID tags. And then you would determine, you set your label types, your label codes. If you had your company identification number, if you were doing this, then you would select your RFID sequence numbers, last sequence number. You can use a 128 sequence number for RFIDs. You have to set it to allow RFIDs. If you want to do a closing package RFID, assign it. So it's pretty much the same. Is anyone on the call doing RFIDs?
And if so, you can just raise your hand or throw it in the chat. Doesn't look like it.
Okay. All right, and then we have customized values. So this fast tab, this is the storage place for data that is needed for producing a customized bill of lading or a label during the packing or ASN process. This customized value, you can use, it can be either or, not both on the same rule. Because here, or if the information is the same, because you can do customized values here, and if you are creating your own labels, if you have information that the customer always wants, if the customer wants something like do not leave without signature, anything, and if you want that to always print on the label, then you can put this in the custom value one, and then you can, when you're designing your labels, you can reference this custom value one. If for some reason you wanted this in your ASN and you were doing that, you could. I doubt it, but this is where you would put something like this. I tend to find that custom values are used more with labels than with ASNs. And here, this is again, it's a newer feature from Lanham where you can do an override ASN type. And it's the same thing. Basically, you're just going to be overriding it. I'm not really sure where this kind of would be used. It really would. And Lanham is giving us more information on this one, but I don't think they've really rolled this out as of yet. But it's on here, so I wanted to show you and just speak about it. So after you've had, and then you can always set up your packing rule. One of the things about packing rules that you can do is you can set up a packing rule that can be just based off of a ship to location. If you have a customer, and a lot of customers now are doing, you can have one bill to, but maybe you have different ship to requirements. You're doing direct to store, you're doing customer direct orders, you're doing pool orders where they're consolidated and they're going to a DC. Well, maybe each one has a different label requirement. You could create 3 different packing rules. Don't put the packing rule on your customer, on the actual customer card. What you want to do is you want to put the packing rule on your ship tos. So normally you'd go here All right, normally you'd go to your E-Ship tab and you'd put your packing rule here. Well, no, what I would suggest doing is that then you can actually put it on your ship tos. You can put it on your ship to addresses, and in your ship to addresses, you could then go here to E-Ship and then put the packing rule there. So then what that packing rule would do is just for this particular ship to that you create, that would be the only one that would have to follow those packing rules. So that's one of the things that finding for more and more people with their trading partners is that as business expands, as retailers look for new ways to leverage their business, it does become somewhat difficult to always kind of follow these set rules. Before, years ago, you'd set up one packing rule for one customer. It was a one-on-one relationship and everything was fine. Now what I'm finding is that maybe depending on how that customer is set up in your systems, you may have to do some tweaks and fixes. And that's where I find that packing rules come in, because you can not make it a cookie cutter solution for every ship to for your trading partner. And I think that is it today. Once again, I do apologize for the delay, and thank you all for hanging in there. And I know that we ran a little bit over due to our delay. Are there any questions? I can stay on if anyone has any other questions.
I think we might have covered them all during our, as we were going along. So again, thank you everybody for your participation today. We do appreciate your time. If you do have any questions that come up after the fact, just send them to info@archerpoint.com. Make sure to get Colette in touch with you, but info@archerpoint.com. Again, thank you everybody for your time and your patience. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and this concludes today's webinar. Have a great afternoon.